Welcome to the June 27th-ish? 26th. Oh, it's right there on the agenda. Welcome to the 26th cnab development meeting. The format for this meeting, we have an agenda posted. I think the URL has been posted in the chat there, but we tend to just follow through with the agenda. So we typically kick it off by offering anybody who's new and this is their first time in the meeting the opportunity to introduce themselves either out loud or in chat. And then we follow that up by a demo, except I don't believe we have a demo today. And then we'll probably go around the room and give some quick status updates. I know everybody's been in and out. And then there are a couple agenda items on the agenda that we want to talk through. One on 204 and another on the, we should have an agenda item on there, Jeremy, for whether or not we want to try and stick to the end of June or push it out to July 15th. So that one we can put on as the last item. So with that said, would anybody like to unmute and introduce themselves or anything like that?
Hi, I'm Leah, and I just joined the Pivotal team working on CNAB stuff.
Excellent.
Welcome, Leah.
There are actually people in this room kind of sitting around the horseshoe, but we're all gathered behind. There's Karen. Matt Fisher's over here. Yeah, so anyway. Okay, so I want to go around the room and give some quick status updates. Chris, you guys want to start?
Yeah, sure. So we've been actively trying to bump cnab-go-ci with the fixes that various people have been asking for. We're trying to make it better so it's definitely more usable by other people. So I think a couple of things that have landed recently have been, we fixed the digest issue where sometimes when you push the digest would change even if nothing changed. We fixed the annotations issue. Sylvain, do you remember what else we changed there?
For the fixes, I think that's all, but we also bumped cnab-go with less changes. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, and then a couple of people on our team also worked on getting cnab-go aligned with the spec, because it seems like we have to, you have the two floating and kind of keeping them up to date. We've been working on that as well. In terms of Docker app, we released the 0.8.0, which will go out with the 1903 Docker release. Yay, yeah. So we've kind of committed to whatever's in that. It's going out as experimental, so we don't have to support everything, but that's where we are.
Okay, Matt's just had to step away. Who would like to catch the ball? Provide an update. Jeremy.
I think. Okay, I'll go over there. Hold on.
I thought he was. I thought he wasn't there. I was like, why did you leave Jeremy out?
All the way across the room. So we've also been working on updating cnab-go to be in line with the spec. We started doing releases, so we've got a couple of releases of cnab-go now. Duffel has been updated to use the latest cnab-go as well. Porter is doing that as well. We're going to try to keep a cadence of pushing small updates and having releases so we don't have to depend on master as these things go forward.
Cool. Is that somebody?
I don't know if there's anybody else to take it status-wise, because I think.
Yeah, on the side, I've been working on the signing thing. I've been using the Notary client libraries to make sure that we can actually get a digest of a bundle and store it in a Notary server. So I've been playing around with that, and the only thing left to do is to upstream that back into Duffel, into the once push and pull land to integrate the signature checking with that.
Anybody else would like to provide an update?
I've been working on specification stuff for the last couple weeks, just trying to make sure that things are zeroing in on what we marked out as our CNAP Core 1.0 milestone.
Milestone?
What?
Should we bring up milestone with that?
No, we can do that. We can cover all that as one big agenda item. I think Carolyn, who couldn't make it, who hasn't made it in yet this morning, she has been working on the Porter side, but part of that work has extended into just trying to make sure that we're following a sensible tagging process so that dependency management can be done well. So I know she's filed kind of a flurry of issues and stuff like that. But her primary rationale is we want to make sure that when we hit the core 1.0 milestone, the dependency graph for Go is relatively reproducible, especially as we all kind of wait with bated breath for the inevitable drop of Go modules, which is going to change all of this stuff.
There's a PR open right now for cnab-go to introduce Go modules. We want to discuss that right now. So that's something we want to do or hold off on.
I think we could do that right after. Is there anybody else? We're not done with status, are we?
If anybody else would like to present their status, otherwise I think that is it.
Turns out that when we're all together in a room, we're far less decisive than we are when we're just on yeah, does anybody else have something? Okay, silence means either no or that you can't get the unmute off, both of which are likely possibilities.
Just lucky, you probably need to refresh that page because I'm not seeing the other changes that have happened. I think HackMD is not giving you live updates.
That better?
Yep.
Right. Yeah, so that first issue there, let's do that and cover the cnab-go module stuff in there as well. So I know that, I believe that was Carolyn who left that issue on there, and that was, we want to start tagging releases even if they're out of beta. I think we're on betas now, so I think we'll try and keep a pretty consistent stream of betas coming out on Duffel and cnab-go, and keep those two pretty tightly locked together. I think Simone and Radu and I don't know who all has been involved in making sure that happens. Somebody said Go. Jeremy, did you want to talk about Go modules?
Yeah.
Or who's kind of...
There's a PR open right now in cnab-go to introduce Go modules. Right now we're still using Dep. Carolyn, I think, had some reservations about it because it'll introduce, basically that everybody has to take a Go mod moving that way. So I think it's a good thing to discuss. There's an open PR in cnab-go right now. If anybody has any feelings, probably the best place to interact on that is on that issue. I'll drop it into the meeting minutes so everybody can see it.
Has anybody else here converted a major project from vendoring style to Go module style?
I've done it for Notary. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, so I did it for Notary, and it was actually not so complicated. There's already like a bootstrapping process that the Go modules, sorry for the redundance, has that it can actually figure out if you have a Go package.log, how to turn that into a Go modules, Go.modules file.
And then do you have any insight on what the experience is taking a dependency on the project that adopted modules?
No, I mean it was pretty transparent. Like I don't think I had that issue. I'm sorry. So are you trying to pin a dependency based on like code that you already vendored, right?
Yeah.
So in theory, that should be translated into the modules file, and it should have a hash that matches the hash that you have in your log.
All right, so we should keep following up on that and see if we can make that work, I guess, right? Can I suggest we not do that before 1.0?
Yeah, I'd be on board with that. On the other hand, I think once we're ready to start moving to modules, I think cnab-go is the best one to get started with, mainly because it has so few actual dependencies, and it will give us a bit of experience going forward, and then move over to Duffel and other projects moving to modules. But yeah, I think waiting for 1.0 and then.
Yeah, even if that means releasing 1.1 soon after, I think that would be safer then. Yeah. Okay. All right, anything else on that issue people want to talk about?
The only thing that it's probably close to that is the dependency graph of cnab-go-ci. And last time I checked and I tried to import it in a Go project, there are a bunch of forks and collisions that happen for containerd and distribution and other dependencies that cnab-go-ci takes. And then there was also dependency on Kubernetes that made everything really difficult to vendor. Is there any updates on cnab-go-ci and vendoring at this point?
Yeah, we worked on removing the Kubernetes dependency. So that should be fixed. About containerd, Simon, any news?
Yeah, actually, containerd has made some support about blum mounts, but we need to rewrite part of cnab-go-ci to leverage that. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess on our part. In fact.
Simon, can you just add that to our backlog, please?
I think it is already on our backlog. It's a continuous story that is there for edges.
Okay, then just update it, please, with that info. Right. Sorry. What happened here on our side is Simon implemented it in containerd, and the containerd maintainers had a different opinion about how it should be implemented. So they finally got around to doing that, which means that it took a while, and they didn't want to merge it, but they, so yeah, that's why we're in the state. But we'll make sure we fix it soon.
That's all. Anything else on that one? Okay. All right. So issue 204, falling squarely in the naming is hard category. Rename uninstall and install to is there a suggestion anywhere about what it
There's some at the bottom.
The last one.
Okay.
I don't have a firm opinion on what you should rename them to. I just don't like the current ones.
Okay. Yeah, I think typing out deprovision would cause many typos, but I don't really have a strong opinion. What?
I can provide a little bit of extra context in this situation.
Yeah,
so we've been talking quite a bit to some internal stakeholders that are planning on being bundle authors themselves. And this is a continual stumbling block in the conversation around what are the words that we use to describe the states of the system. And everyone seems to get very confused when we say, yeah, install the installation. And they're like, wait a second. So like, is an installation the act of installing, or is that like the thing that gets installed? And when we phrase it like install the bundle, that's great, but that isn't really a representation of what's actually happening. Like the thing that's getting installed is effectively the installation. And same thing with uninstall. The other part that's kind of confusing is there are things that these internal stakeholders would want to install that aren't necessarily things you would think of as being installed, like a user account. Use cases where like, I want to, have a bundle that represents the creation or management of the lifecycle of a user account on like a service. In that case, the names install and uninstall for somebody's user account is kind of just like semantically doesn't line up that well. So I don't know, this is not like definitely not a high priority issue, but certainly one worth thinking about. We just have experienced quite a bit of like confusion and some stumbling from folks that we're trying to see some early adoption of the format for.
Yeah, and if we don't change it now, we're doomed to years of having to use a term that's confusing. I would create and delete is probably the most, create, upgrade, delete is probably the most generic set of terms. Create, update, yeah.
Update or apply?
Well, apply means so many different things if you're not a Kubernetes user or a Terraform user. Actually, I mean different things between Terraform and
I really don't like create and delete because it's not obvious if what you want to do is create an installation or actually create a bundle. And yeah, I think it's too generic because we basically have two flows: the bundle offering flow and the bundle installation flow. So I think provision deprovision might be a good candidate.
Should we leave this one for a week, give people a chance to comment on it, and then try and move on it?
Yeah, I think so.
Ideally, if everyone commented with their favorite pair of verbs, and then we can vote on them, I guess. Leaving it
Condor say poll on which
Yeah.
verbs you like. Yeah.
Yeah, leaving it for another week would just be, next meeting will be on the same state.
Yeah, and this might be one of them where we want a backward compatibility set of verbs if we do decide to change. Yeah, Karen?
Yeah, I just want to call out that we also have custom verbs as well. So it's important not to get too hung up on if one particular scenario fits or doesn't fit with a particular verb, because there's a reason why we have extra verbs, because sometimes what you're doing doesn't actually fit with one of these particular things, and then they make more sense. So
Can you guys hear Carolyn?
Sorry, I'm not sure where the mic is.
It's here.
It's on the laptop.
Okay.
I would agree. I would agree with that. We also have a layer of abstraction, like what's in the spec and what you show in your tool can be different.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave this one open and let people opine on it. Anything else we want to add to this in discussion before we move on to the next one? Okay. What was the next one? Okay. Summer holidays. Yeah, now we're on a topic that everybody can participate equally on. As Chris pointed out right at the top of the meeting, about half of us are in Europe, and the other half of us are in the US, where we still take vacations. They're just much shorter. Anything, Chris, you want to go ahead and take it away and talk about this one?
Yeah, I guess we should ask who's comfortable with announcing when they're on holiday, but at least on my team, on my side, I think it would be, like, I want to tell people when I'm on holiday so that you know that I'm not replying because I'm trying to take time off work, not not that I'm being mean or not doing my job. So I don't know if we want to collect this somewhere, maybe put it in the, put it in the stock or somewhere else, or if people don't think we need that, or what people think.
People are chatting now.
Yes. We put it in GitHub status.
Can you put it in GitHub status?
Yeah, you can set yourself as on vacation.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be. I did not know about that.
Slack status.
Yeah.
Office, email, replies, whatever hits the most people.
Yeah, Lucky, I was just going to say, just on Slack status, which channel or which workspace?
There's no meta statuses. There's no API.
Oh, just with the GitHub status, you won't be auto-assigned to issues to review.
Oh, so that might. So GitHub status actually comes with actual benefits, and not merely.
Just select holiday, not working holiday, because working holiday is they assign everything to you.
Apparently, I'm on permanent working holiday. Yeah. Okay, that's a good idea. Any other ideas?
We should build a platform that sets your status on all the platforms.
Pivot.
Don't give all your business ideas up on this call, Chris.
Cross notification API for we need a B. Woof. There really is one?
No, from a joke from a TV show.
Oh.
I remember.
Okay. Anything else on that one?
That's good for me.
All right, so the last one on here, so we had set a goal for ourselves to have the spec finalized by the end of June. That goal was in part motivated by the fact that we wanted to have the JDF announcement happen sometime at the end of the summer. And we're still not quite done with all the paperwork on the JDF stuff, though we're close. And since some of the key contributors to the specification are currently on holiday and vacation, would it make sense to delay the release till Monday, July 15th and give ourselves 2 extra working weeks at this point, or to try and press on and do it by, I think it's Monday of next week? and I put this item on the agenda because I am in fact in favor of delaying until July 15th, unless any of you have core commitments that really necessitate having it done at the end of June, because we have been talking about this for a while and I don't want to surprise anybody.
I think July 15th makes sense. I think there's a couple of issues that are still open that we probably won't realistically get done by Monday anyway.
On Pivotal side, I know you guys are working on several projects in parallel, multiple projects in parallel on CNAB. Would delaying till July 15th put you guys at risk for anything?
No, we would be fine with that.
And I know you have two people that are gone right now that would probably like to have the final vote, their final votes weighing in, two maintainers. Chris, how about you guys?
No, we're using a version for docwrap with 0.8 of docwrap, so it doesn't impact us really.
Okay. Anybody else concerned about that? All right, so I think we'll assume at this point that we're going to shoot for July 15th, so I'll adjust the milestone accordingly. That gives us a little over 2 weeks to continue to make adjustments to the spec. Should we take a quick look as we close out for our last item, just take a look at the state of the milestone?
No. Do we have a link? CNAB spec.
I'm going to have Lockie bring his laptop to my office every day and just type.
Just type stuff. It's okay.
So Lockie, what I'd like is for you to open a paren now. Space, 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 space.
Okay, so what do we want to have a look?
In the
Milestones, go to issue.
Yeah. All right, so we can change the date to July 15th, but other than that, okay, so we got 3 issues. Avoid producing a new CNAB during relocation, which has been sort of a long ongoing discussion about the nuances of signing and validating things. Add immutable property to bundle parameter. Oh, that's just adding a property called immutable.
Yep.
We had discussed that, and it does appear that there is a use case for an immutable property that's not currently covered by the spec. Did you open a PR?
No, I'm going to do that
this
week. 185, which is not in this list, I think also is something that we identified as something we want. 85? Yeah, it's an issue.
185.
Issues.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, we should talk about adding you as a core maintainer. I totally didn't add you at some point, and Michelle noticed that.
Did you want to add the issue to the milestone?
So this one was basically, I think Simone made some excellent points there that in many cases, multi-architecture images do the work. And then I was arguing that we needed to be able to make images selectable for other reasons, which kind of led us toward a discussion of maybe just saying we have label fields, and the label fields are free-form, but are the kinds of things that it will be exposed via flags on various command lines or drop-down lists and UIs where people can select, I want to pick out of the list of invocation images only one that matches this particular set of labels. Which seems to make a little more sense than only limiting selection to architecture and operating system. So if it's okay with people here, I think we should add this one to the milestone since it's basically, there's a feature already existing that I think we would be wise to either retool to be more generic or as someone originally suggested, maybe just remove it. Again, we'll leave this issue open and people can weigh in, but I think we should at least PR in one that moves it from platform to labels and kind of see how that looks.
Is there an architecture one as well, or is there just platform?
It's platform and Arch. So it's OS and Arch.
But we just want to remove. Oh, platform.
So platform is the top level field, then there's an OS field under it and an Arch field under it. So we would rename platform labels and make it free-form key value string pairs.
Okay.
So then for the driver field, would we do something similar, or would you keep the driver?
I think we would keep the driver for now, but we could talk about that if that would be something that was interesting too. I think right now the driver is only a string name, right? And it's really more of like a single tag value because multiple drivers are allowed to say that they satisfy that particular string name. And then it's up to the user. Well, in Duffel's case, it's up to the user to say, if I ask it to use the Docker driver versus the Kubernetes driver, and the Docker driver can't find an engine capable of satisfying the condition, it's supposed to fail. But we could do something more sophisticated if there was a use case for it.
I don't have a use case in mind. I'm just thinking if we're going to make it generic, maybe it's worth going generic the whole way, but maybe not. I just thought of it now, so it's not.
Okay. Yeah, if anybody thinks about that and feels so inclined, you can open an issue for that, and we'll group that one in with this one. And then the last issue that was on that screen that was just up is the AirGap Scenarios one, which is really more just like a checklist of things we want to make sure we can do by the final CNAB 1.0 core. As a reminder, we moved all of the signing verification stuff out to a separate specification so that we could focus on that as a kind of standalone unit of work, and that one is still ongoing. So really what we need to make sure of in this case is that our definitions of export, import, and the package itself are compatible with the things we would need for the signing stuff and the things we would need in order to deliver over an AirGap network.
This.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So this still feels like a digestible piece of work, but I think having an extra couple of weeks to work on it is probably the healthy thing for us to do rather than try and rush it out. Anything else people would like to make sure is on that core 1.0 thing that didn't get added already?
Just one question on the dates. Do we know when the other maintainers will be back so we can, like, is this an achievable goal or?
That's the only thing that I was going to bring up was July 15th is the date that Urvashi actually gets back. And I think that Glenn does not come back to the 20th, if I remember correctly. It's somewhere in the CNAB Slack channel. He announced that he was leaving. I think it's the 20th.
We could slip an entire month if you think that would be better on your side, Brian.
I think that I can speak effectively for Urvashi just because I talk with her all the time. I don't think that there's anything that's outside of this list that she wants brought in, and I think that we can, as long as these things are addressed, I think that's comfortable with that. As far as Glenn is concerned, the only one that I know Glenn has been watching very closely is the image relocation bits. I think he cares about that quite a bit, and he dumped all of his thoughts into my head before he left, so I will also be speaking as his proxy.
Okay.
So I guess come talk to me. But I don't think we necessarily have to delay. I don't think either one of them would be terribly upset.
Okay. All right. So 15th then, and if we get near there and you've heard otherwise or feel otherwise, like you don't feel like you want to make the call on their behalf, we'll deal with it.
Okay. I will speak out if that's the case.
Also, so how do we bribe you if we want you to get this all done before your colleagues get? All right, that sounds good. Anybody else have anything additional to add today? All right. Yep. Thank you all very much. Would anybody like to take the opportunity next time to moderate, to do a better job than what I'm doing this week? Is this where I try and bribe Brian again? All right, we'll play it by ear then next time. Or you can drop a message in the chat channel or in Slack. All right, well, until next time, thank you all very much. Appreciate all the ongoing effort. I know it's been a lot of work for all of us, and we're all anxious to get this pushed over the finish line, but I think we're getting really close. All right, thanks. We'll see you again in 2 weeks and on Slack. Bye.
Bye.